welcome back to Training Tuesday. It is Tuesday and I'm back in my home environment and I'm very happy to be here, I have to say. If you followed some of my postings, you know we've had a few trials and tribulations with our travels this week. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have this amazing travel karma. And I am being incredibly sarcastic when I say that. I have travel karma to the point where past coworkers have refused to travel with me, like to conferences and things, because they know that my flights get canceled, they get delayed, things just happen, and my travel typically goes haywire. So we were kind of overdue for some travel mishaps this week. I was out on the West Coast, as many of you know, visiting family. I was gone actually for 2 weeks. My son came out to join us for part of it, and then he and I were flying back yesterday. And I still blame my travel karma, even though it was really him who forgot his wallet. His wallet fell out of his pocket in my mother's car when she dropped us off at the airport, and she got halfway home before she saw his wallet in the back seat. And of course, this was the one time, right, that she'd left the house without her cell phone. So we called her like 17 times, only to find out from my dad later that her phone was sitting on a table somewhere in the living room. So, anyway. So we had some wild travel karma, but she came back, she gave him the wallet. He managed to dash up through security and get to the gate just as they announced that they were delaying boarding for 15 minutes. So it all worked out. It all worked out. And it had me thinking that tonight I was going to talk a little bit about control and things that we can and can't control. But actually, I'd been thinking for a long time now about really talking about power. So I'm going to stick with power tonight because I think heading into 2023, like we start December this week. Okay? It's tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Day after tomorrow is December 1st. And I'm thinking heading into this week, heading into December, the last 31 days of the year, and then launching into 2023, it's actually a good time to talk about power. It's a good time for us to talk about how do we take the reins? How do we take the reins now? How do we think about it now? So that as we finish out the year and as we launch into next year, we are operating from a position of strength. And we're operating with true power, with a good sense of power and groundedness and security and confidence. So that's what tonight's going to be about. We're going to talk about power. And we're going to talk about power as not a dirty word, because it's not. So one of the ways that we know, for example, we can feel that we are struggling with power, with a sense of power, can be if we're feeling stuck or stressed. And there are different ways that we can feel stuck or stressed. And so I'd love to hear from you guys what makes you feel stuck or stressed. And hey, Joyce, how are you? For everyone out there, hello. Join us, say hi, and let me know what makes you feel stuck or stressed or powerless. That's really the question, right? What makes you feel powerless? For those of you joining for the first time, my name is Natalie Hahn. I am CEO and Principal Coach at Dirty Girls Consulting. And you are here in our private women-only Facebook group, Accelerating Leadership for Professional Women. This is Training Tuesday, where we do free training every Tuesday. So I'm happy to have you here. So tonight's topic being power, what makes you feel powerless? And a lot of times when we feel powerless, it translates into feeling stuck or feeling stressed out. I know that working long hours, feeling like we're not only are we working long hours, but that we have to work long hours can make us feel stuck or stressed. Feeling stuck on projects or with deadlines that are completely unreasonable can help us feel powerless, can help us feel stuck or stressed. I walked into a situation at my corporate job a few months ago where they gave me some targets to hit between now and the end of the year. And I had to look at those targets and say, can't do it. Can't do it. If there's ever stress and feeling stuck and powerless, it's looking at targets that were set well before you were responsible for them and realizing not possible. Doesn't mean I don't have power, but it was a moment of feeling pretty powerless to realize that there was nothing I could say or do that was going to change those targets. So I had to change some other things instead, which we will talk about. Stress that you're not getting recognized for your efforts. You can feel pretty powerless when you're feeling like you're overlooked. Nobody sees you. Nobody's recognizing the effort that you're putting in. You can feel powerless if someone else is getting recognition for work, whether it's work that they've done or haven't done, or, especially if they don't deserve the credit, we can feel pretty powerless about that. We can also feel very annoyed about that, and that's totally justified. What are other ways you might feel powerless or stressed, stuck? Worried. You can be worried that there's a promotion or there's a raise that should be in your future, but it's feeling a little out of your hands. That can be a feeling of powerlessness, like there's nothing I can do. They're either going to bless me with it or they're not. Feeling trapped. The feeling of I can't do it all. I don't know how to do it all. How am I going to get this all done? So feeling overwhelmed or feeling trapped can translate into feeling like we're powerless. And in these moments, part of our being stuck in them or trapped in them is not tapping into the power that is available to us. Now, the definition of power, according to the dictionary, is I've got my notes here, the ability to do something or act in a particular way, especially as a faculty or quality. And 2, the capacity or ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or the course of events. So those are 2 definitions of power that come down to a way of being, doing, and thinking. Right? Power can be described as a way of being, right, to act or do something in a particular way, doing, or thinking. And Joyce, I hear you. Where do I even start? Yeah, that feeling of overwhelm, right, has us feeling powerless because there's just so much to do. Where do you begin? What do you tackle first? How do you even breathe for a minute to figure out where to go first? Totally get it. So when you think about that definition of power, being, thinking, and doing, on Training Tuesday a few weeks ago, we talked about stepping into being the leader that you want to be, right? The what would blank do? What would whoever you admire as a leader, what would they do? What would that person do? Whether you admire a political figure, an entertainment figure, somebody who's like world famous, whether you admire someone in your own intimate circle, but having that kind of mentor, that kind of leader in your head about who you want to be and how you want to be can actually be very motivating and very helpful for us as we step into new ways of leading as well as stepping into power, because it's all about becoming the leaders we want to be by being the person who does those things, who thinks those things. And by doing, being, and thinking those things, we get the things, we get the outcome, we get the things that kind of leader gets. So this is where we talk about power is how we do this, and it's not a dirty word. Power is not about wielding your control over others, right? It could be, but it doesn't have to be. And effective power is really more about leverage and more about inspiration than it is about control. In fact, I think we confuse control and power a lot, and they're not the same, nor do they have the same outcomes. They do not have the same outcomes. So why is it important for women to manage their power? And why is it important to you to be powerful? What makes it important for you to have power and to be powerful? I'd love for you to share, but I can think of a bunch of reasons why, right? A bunch of reasons why. Um, Leveraging our power is exactly how we create the kind of life that we want. It's making those powerful choices. It's stepping forward with confidence, right? Having the confidence to create the kind of life that you want, to not worry, to detach from what other people think or what other people think you should be doing. That's power. The ability to detach from criticism and praise of other people is a form of power. We can leverage power to have an impact on our family, on our friends, on our community, on the world. There's no limit to where your power can go, what it can influence. You can be a role model for other people. You can use your power to be a role model for your family members, for your kids if you have kids, for nieces, for nephews, for peers and coworkers and friends and the broader world. Whoever is watching you, you can be a role model for. That's power. Having self-love and self-confidence is power. And when we have that self-love and that self-confidence, we make the choices that help us create the life that we want to create. So it's like a little domino effect, right? All this stuff is going on when we own our power. The challenge is that we have not been taught. We have not been taught about power. Um, in fact, we're taught the opposite. And so we're at a disadvantage in a lot of ways because men get training around power all the time and they treat it like a game, which is why they don't take it personally. They have that detachment already because they've been raised to treat it that way, and we have not. Most of us women have been, if we're seen as powerful women, we're seen as what? We're seen as rebels. Powerful women that we hold up in history, you see them in the memes and you read about them in history books, are defined as having been rebellious in order to obtain their power. Here's the thing, that's not actually true. We put it out there as true in the media. I think as women, we need to embrace the fact that we've had an awful lot of power for a long time, and we didn't fully realize how to leverage it properly. Yeah, power is getting to choose what's important and what gets done. Absolutely, Joyce. That's priority, and holding to your priorities is your power, because that is what creates your life. Every choice you make every moment, you guys have heard me say this a zillion times, but every choice we make in every single moment is exactly what creates our life. So if we choose to stay in that pattern of being stuck or trapped on the dead-end projects or the impossible deadlines or feeling like we can't ask for that promotion or that raise or that we can't do anything about it, if we choose to stay with those feelings, we choose to remain powerless. Now here's the thing. While powerful women have always been seen to be rebels, to stand out among women, the truth is women have had power all along. It hasn't been viewed in the classic sense. But that's shifting because traditionally women's power was where? In the home and raising kids, right? Traditionally. We undervalue how much power that really is. Women who control what's happening in the home environment, right? And I'm using that word control, but so let me back off from that a little bit because like I said, the two are not quite synonymous. Women who have power within the home environment, right? They have the power to decide what's getting done, how, like Joyce said, how to choose what's important, what gets done, how it gets done, when it gets done, who are responsible for the raising of our children, for molding those minds, creating those values, creating what's important, right? That's power. That's the power over future generations. That's the power over how a household is run, how the home environment in which we're raising future generations gets run. That is the power of how money is spent, how nutrition is managed, right? How all kinds of things are done that spill over into the outside world. But women, for decades, have been managing it in this microcosm of the home environment. And this is why I say we underestimate it, because it's only visible inside the home. Except thanks to modern women, Not anymore. Yes, exactly, Joyce. The hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. This is true, and this is how this has evolved. And again, we still as women don't recognize it. And that's from our raising, right? That's from our own feelings of powerlessness. Here's the truth about women. Women globally have a shopping power, a buying power, money. We control $32 trillion globally. Women control 85% of all consumer spending with their $32 trillion. Women. Women do the shopping. Not just talking about shopping for groceries. 50% of women now make what they call male purchases. 50% of women are buying all the cars, are buying all electronics, are buying all the home improvement goods. We are taking care of ourselves. In America, most of you who join us are in North America. In America, of that $32 trillion, we're running 10 trillion of it. So a third of it is centered right here in North America. Women hold 60% of personal wealth. 60%. We have more money than men. 40% of women out-earn their male partners. We make more money than men. What does that tell you? We have power. We have money. You can do a lot with money. Money and power, they are not dirty words. They are tools. Both of them are tools. But we don't always use them appropriately. And we don't because we have been raised, right? A lot of our feelings around power are inherited or assumed through our experience. And a lot of our experience comes from this inherited and, yes, traditionally male-dominated environment. But we carry that with us. What we carry with us is this idea of we can't break the rules, except for those few rebels who made a ruckus and then got themselves in some history book, right? We can't break the rules. Why not? Because we can't let people down. We are raised as people pleasers. We are raised not to let people down, not to let people be uncomfortable. If someone else is uncomfortable because I am showing up too big, too strong, too loud, too pushy, too bossy, put your two in front of anything. If I'm showing up that way and you're uncomfortable, what do I have to do? I have to dial it back. I dial it back. I don't ask you to step up, to accept, to learn, maybe to grow, but I dial it back. Why? Because that's our training. We're taught that power is bad, that power is corrupting. We're taught the same thing about money. We're not supposed to want money. Why not? Power and money are amazing tools. And like any tool, can you use it for evil? I'll just say good versus evil. Can you use it for evil? Yes. You can use anything for evil, just like you can use it for good. Just like you can use it for yourself, and that doesn't necessarily make it selfish. We're taught that power is a male trait. Men are supposed to have power, not women. And so we don't. We don't think about it as, hey, this is a tool that I want and I need. Exactly, Joyce. Don't make other people feel less than. Don't make them feel less than because I need to make them feel comfortable. So rather than me talking about my accomplishments, rather than me talking about great things I've done or what I want to achieve or how hard I've worked for things, I'm going to dial that back. And I'm not going to share that because, one, you might think I'm bragging and that would be icky. And two, I don't want to make you uncomfortable in case you weren't as lucky as I was. Do you know that men don't think this way? Not only do men don't think this way, they don't resent each other for it either. We get resentful when we realize we've done some amazing things and we feel like we can't talk about it. When we own our own personal power, that feeling starts to go away. So let's talk specifically about power in your career. How can power help you in your career? Leadership, right? When you can exude power, you can exude leadership, you can share your vision, you can drive a powerful vision. People want to follow that vision, they want to be part of it. You become a role model when you step up into a leadership position. People want to be like that, they want to follow that. Those are all good things. The promotion piece of it, you can get promoted, you can be recognized, there could be a raise involved or a new title involved, some sort of move involved. Again, nothing wrong with that. Recognition for your contributions is what we should expect, right? It's what we should expect. But we sometimes have to leverage our power in order to get that recognition. Hey, Jackie, it's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. We are talking about power tonight. How else can power help your career? Connections, team building, getting you to work with other people, make connections with other people. And the one that we really do strive for, and I find this to be the biggest driver with the women that I work with. All the other drivers are great. Don't get me, they're not ordered in any particular way. All the drivers, if you tell me you want more power in your life and more power over your career because you want to raise, hallelujah, let's go do it. You want to step into a bigger leadership position? Okay, let's get that done. But the number one thing I hear from you about why you want more power is because you want to make a bigger impact. Because there is a vision or a mission behind what's driving you, and you want to make a bigger impact. I think that's amazing. I think that's amazing. It's the least selfish, if we're going to call it that. It's the least self-oriented. That's what it is. It is the least self-oriented reason for wanting power. It's the one that gives back the most, whether you are trying to make an impact on your family and friends, your community, or the world at large. But that is why we strive for power, because we have an inherent belief that we can do good and that we can make a great impact. How cool is that? And when you think about that as one of our key motivators, why wouldn't we go hunting down power, more power? All right, so there are 4 types of power, and there are 3 that you can tap into right now. 3. So the 3 types of power. First is your expertise. Knowledge is power. That's a phrase. When you don't use it in that political manipulative sense, the fact is it's true. Knowledge is power. I have told you guys before, and I will say it again, that you are not getting paid. You are not getting paid for doing the job in an 8-hour day. You are getting paid for your knowledge and your experience that you know how to do the job. So if you have 10 years experience and you can do that job in 2 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day, kudos. They're paying for the whole package of you, right? So your expertise is part of your power. Knowing what you can do, knowing what you do best is powerful. Knowing how you can use your expertise to further your mission, your goals, the company's mission and goals, right? How you can further the targets, achieving those targets is power. Knowing what you have left to learn is very powerful. Where are the gaps? What more could I know? We gain power through increasing our knowledge, increasing our experience. Power is knowing where you can delegate. Gosh, we hate giving things up, don't we? I'm so good at that. I should just do that thing. But when you can do the thing and still delegate it to someone else to do, that's power, because now you're leveraging your resources. Now you're able to do more because you've freed up yourself from those things you already know how to do. Power around your expertise and your knowledge is around knowing, what do you need to do? What do you need to do? What do you need to know? Back to what Joyce mentioned earlier, right? It's prioritizing. You get to choose what gets done. So your expertise is one place where you have power that you can leverage. You can leverage it to get things done. You can leverage it to empower other people. You can leverage it to learn more and to grow. Second type of power is through your network. You have power in your network, in your connections. Who do you know? Who do you know, and how can they support you right now? Who do you know and how can they help you? What are the actual tactical things they can do to help you achieve your goals? Who do they know that they can influence on your behalf? Who can they talk to, sell to, introduce you to that's going to help you achieve your goals? How can you help them? That's probably the number one reason we don't leverage our network, is we keep thinking, I'm asking them, and we don't remember that we have something to give back. We do. We know somebody, we know things, right? Go back to expertise. Your first point of power is your expertise. You know things that could also possibly help them. How can you help them? Helping people in your network is a form of power. And I'm not talking about it in terms of, keeping track of who owes who what favor. You expand your influence when you're able to help other people, because they look at that and they go, she helped me out. She's fantastic. Sometimes that goodwill is all you need to help move a project forward. So it's not about tit for tat. I did 2 things for them, now they owe me 2 favors. It is about being that powerful leader with expertise who shares it in order to grow her influence in her network. Third, your personal power. Who are you? So let's go back to what we talked about at the beginning of this training, which is, who do you want to be? How do they think? How do they act? How would they behave in that moment? What would your favorite leader do in this specific situation? How would my favorite leader respond in this conversation? How would my favorite leader behave in this moment? Your personal power is all in how you think, be, and do. That's where you have a whole ton of influence, and you can change it right now, today, in the next 30 seconds. You can decide to be that leader who you want to be, to think like that person thinks, to do the things that person would do, and to make those choices. Now, when you pull together your expertise, your network, and your ability to be that leader, you've just pulled together 3 different points of power to help you move forward in your career. How different is your day tomorrow if you walk into it thinking, here are my 3 points of power. This is the kind of leader I'm going to be. I have this kind of knowledge and expertise, and here's the people in my universe that I can connect with, that I can help, or who can help me. When you leverage those 3 things, the fourth power is the power that we have the least control over, but it's the power that gets impacted when those 3 things fall into place. That fourth power is what we call positional power. Positional power is when you finally have the title. Positional power is you are literally in the hierarchy at the top. You're at the top of the hierarchy. You have the title. You have the control over the team, over the organization, over the project. Positional power says on an org chart, you are recognized as the leader. Now, there's reasons around this one that I want to dig into. Reasons are not the right word. There are elements to positional power that I want to dig into, and one is positional power is that power granted by outside forces. The first 3, you can manage. The first 3, you can leverage. The last one, generally speaking, is the one that is given to you based on recognition from outside sources. So the only place that's not true is if you're the CEO of your own business. Ta-da! I have positional power at Dirty Girls Consulting because it's my business. But we make the mistake of thinking that just because we have positional power, we have power. How many of you have worked for crappy bosses? Did they really have power? They had positional power, which meant inside an organization, they had the right to fire people, to reprimand people, to be a jerk at meetings, right? To be the bully. So positional power does give them some of that. But does that truly make them powerful people? Are those the people who are really going to change the world? Can we just talk for a moment about Elon Musk and what's happening at Twitter? His power base eroded significantly with the fallout that came after he took over Twitter. Now, whether you fall on the side of you love Elon Musk or you hate him, irrelevant. The truth is, when he took over Twitter, there was a huge fallout with some of the business decisions he made as a leader that has eroded his power and influence in the marketplace, coming from positional power. Because he took his expertise, his connections, and his personal power, and he smashed them all into this positional relationship, and he used that to achieve specific goals. I'm trying to word this diplomatically. To achieve specific goals that were perhaps not very well thought out longer term. Let me put this in. That had a direct impact on his network, that had people questioning his expertise, that have people questioning the type of leader he is, right? All these stories are coming out about him now. Stories that were not so, they were there, but they were not nearly so prevalent as before he took over Twitter. So here's somebody whose positional power is actually eroding the personal connection and expertise power that he used to have. So positional power doesn't mean you're powerful. It means you hold the position. You can use that position for good or evil. How you get to positional power is often influenced by your expertise, your connections, and your personal choice, right? The kind of leader that you want to be. It's influenced by that. But it's not all, they're not equal. They're not equal. So of the 4 types of power, positional power is quite frankly the least effective. You don't have to have the title to be an effective leader. You don't have to have the title to make an impact on the world. Not necessary, not required. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean for you? The main thing I want you to take away from tonight is to really think about these 4 types of power. And 3, forget about positional power for right now, because that will come. Think about your expertise. Think about your connections. Think about the leader that you want to be, your personal strengths, the leader you want to be, those 3 elements. Where are you giving up your power? Where in one of those 3 or all 3 of those, where are you giving up your power? Jackie volunteered, and thank you, Jackie. Guilty of not delegating as much as you should. That's a control move, right? When we don't delegate, we often take it on to do it ourselves because we can. We know how, right? That's our expertise. We know how. And we move forward thinking, I'll be able to do it faster. I'll be able to get it done. I'll be able to get it done the right way, and I'll be able to get it done my way. And we forget that while delegating might sometimes be a little more painful because the person may not do it your way, it might take a little longer because they need training. There's power in the delegation because you are now empowering someone else to learn something and to do something. One, that takes something off your plate that you may not really need to be focused on as a leader. And 2, that empowers somebody else who looks at you as a leader. It empowers them to grow as well. Delegation is a really important leadership tool. It develops power for everybody involved. So identify where you are giving up your power, whether it's your expertise and you need to learn how to delegate, or you need to learn how to let go of things, whether it's in your connections and learning how not only to ask your connections for help, but to offer them help as well. Whether it's in your personal power and identifying who is this leader that I want to be? How does this person show up? But when you can identify where you're giving up your power, you can then start breaking down what is a specific, practical, new habit I can put in place to ensure that I'm growing into that leadership role that I want to be, that I'm growing into my personal power, that I'm using it and leveraging it and enjoying it to the benefit of myself and everyone around me. So think through your expertise, your connections, and your personal power. Where are you giving up some of your power? And what's a specific thing you can do to change that habit and reclaim some of it back? Because I guarantee you 99% of what we're doing that is disempowering to ourselves are old patterns and habits that we've just been raised in, that we've adopted because that's how our home environment or our work environment trained us. And we've just accepted that as that's what it should be. But I want us to have a future where not every powerful woman is branded as a rebel against society. And instead, we are the norm. We already control the money. We already control the money. Really, what more power do we need? We just have to own it. We have to own the fact that it's already in our hands and we're not shamed by it. We're not afraid of it. We're not less than or selfish for wanting it. All right, ladies, that is Training Tuesday for tonight. If you would like to talk more about your personal power, about your positional power, about your expertise or your connections and how to leverage those, I would love to invite you to a Dirty Girl mini dig, which is a 15-minute coaching conversation where we can get to where you want to focus in terms of growing your power, your career path, and get you to an action step that's going to help you get closer. It's a free coaching call, it's a sales-free zone, and it's an opportunity for us to get to know each other and get you to a really actionable step that helps move you forward right now, this month. Like I said, we're in December in 48 hours, last 31 days of the year. My mission is to help all of you end the year strong so that you are teed up for a phenomenal 2023. And it starts now. It starts right now. Jackie, easy to take on the easy things. Harder to reach my own goals. Yes. And that's just it, right? Often with our to-do list, it's like, I'm going to knock out those first 6 things because I know how to do that and it's easy. And then we don't get to the stuff that actually might move the needle for us. And that's a natural reaction. That's something that we definitely, that's not just women, men do that too, but that's definitely something we got to work through. And thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you, Jackie, for that comment. I appreciate that. Ladies, as always, I love having Training Tuesday with you. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you would like to have that Dirty Girl mini dig coaching conversation, drop the word dig in the comments and I will reach out to you and we will set up that 15-minute chat just about moving you forward. End the year strong, start next year even stronger. Let's claim back our power, not as a dirty word. Let's not look at money as a dirty word. These are tools. These are tools. So let's use our tools to the best of our ability to make the impact on the world that you want to make. Let's get started. Have a fantastic evening, and I will see you all next week.